Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're tuning in from. This is not Carrie's Corner. Believe it or not, this is not Carrie's Corner. You are now officially watching the new Thursday programming, which is called Thursday Q&A. Yay! So many exciting things and exciting changes happening at Worldwide. And one of those big changes is that on Thursdays, we are transitioning to a Thursday Q&A where a different department will be featured every week and a different person from each department will be featured every week. And they'll be tuning in and they will be live answering your questions. So I love a good Q&A session. You guys already know this about me, but we are going to keep with one tradition, and that is if you are new here, which everyone's new here because it's a new show, pop your name and your location where you're tuning in from in the chat. Let me know, are you an RN looking for a job? Are you an RN already in process? Are you a nurse aide? What you doing out there? What are you looking for? How did you find Worldwide? How did you stumble onto this show? So I'm super excited because today is just a live Q&A, and that's what every Thursday is going to be moving forward. So today is a day for you to ask all of those questions. Now, fortunately for me, I have had the opportunity to work with all the departments at Worldwide, all of our amazing departments. So I do have a handful of tidbits. And with Carrie's Corner, I got to have a lot of people on the show. So I've learned a lot about the immigration process. So with me, you can ask a lot of different questions. You can ask questions, about retrogression. You can ask them about the English language exam, about licensing, recruitment, how to prepare for your interview. So with me, I'm kind of I'm a catch-all, right? I can kind of answer a little bit about everything. I'm definitely not an expert in everything, but I can answer a few questions about everything. And if I don't know the answer, I can tell you who to ask. But next week, we have Amy Carr, who is our Vice President of Recruiting, and she will actually be streaming live from a really, really big event. So if you have not applied yet, if you're an RN and you have not applied yet, I cannot encourage you and a friend enough to apply. We have a huge recruiting event going on next week. Massive recruiting event. And it's with a great organization called Common Spirit. Common Spirit is the largest Catholic system in the United States, and it's the second largest nonprofit healthcare system in the United States. So we have a huge recruiting event for that happening next week. We are hiring all over the United States. Common Spirit is all over the U.S., lots of different locations and jobs and all that. So if you have applied, reach out to your recruiter and let them know, hey, I want to be considered for Common Spirit. Now, this is RNs only. So let them know, hey, I want to be considered for a Common Spirit position because that's next week. Interviews start on Monday for Common Spirit. So super, super, super exciting. If you have not applied yet, even if again, remember, I like to tell people, just because you apply, that's not you writing in blood, I am going to have to take this job. Like, no. Anytime you apply, even if you're offered a position, if it's not what you want, you can say no. You can say no. So it never hurts to apply. And the second thing is interviewing is always a great thing to practice. I have a rule, and it is never turn down an interview. Never turn down an interview because it's always wonderful to polish those skills. This is a great opportunity to practice your English language, which you should be practicing every day if you're thinking about coming to the United States. There are so many perks to just throwing your name in the hat. And if you get an interview, great, take it. Such an amazing opportunity. Ask a friend, bring a friend, be like, hey, let's go interview for Common Spirit together. Who knows? You could, try to immigrate with a friend and then you would have a roomie. Yay for roommates. Speaking of retrogression, I know I mentioned that. That's, that's the R word in immigration is retrogression. And what I like to remind people is our amazing head lead attorney, Ann Rose Johnson Lewis, says the same thing. She's like, this is nothing new. Retrogression is nothing new. The fact that it may jump forward a few months or if it jumps backwards 11 months, it's nothing new. It's nothing to panic about, and it doesn't mean that you shouldn't apply. It should not keep you from applying. The fact that we're in retrogression. We have people and we adjust. So we have people who are in process, right? They've already accepted a job and they're in process and they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. What does this mean? Because we're working with a lot of time sensitive documents once you start this process, right? Like your English language exam is only valid for 2 years. There are certain things that are only valid for 1 year. Once you get your license, it's only valid for 1 year. So we have departments of people put into place to help you through that process. This is not something that you're going to have anxiety about all on your lonesome. Okay, so do not let retrogression keep you from applying, and do not let retrogression make you think, oh, maybe I should pull my petition, or maybe I'm scared. No, retrogression is nothing new. We are very used to it. Is 11 months backwards a big jump? Yeah, I'll be honest with you. It's a pretty big jump backwards. But the visa bulletin is going to update again in October. It's probably going to move forward. I don't know. I have no idea. That's up to the US State Department. It's kind of like gambling, like, let's see which way the dice falls today. We don't know. We can predict. And we have great people who can predict. Ron Hoppy is excellent at predicting the where the retrogression, the visa bulletin will land. So again, there's no exact answer, but do not let retrogression and the visa bulletin intimidate you or keep you from applying, because I would hate for you to miss that opportunity. Can CNAs apply? So right now we are not hiring CNAs. And the reason being is the CNA immigration process is like 5 to 7 years. So it's a really, really long process. That's a great question. So thank you for asking that. But right now, the short answer is no. CNAs are, like I said, it's a 5 to 7 year process at best. My girl Arlene, who's always on, she was always on Carrie's Corner. She can definitely testify to that. She's been in process for quite some time, but she was already kind of in process. So currently, we do not have open CNA positions that we're applying for, that I am aware of. No one's notified me of anything different. So we do have a retrogression webinar next Wednesday, and it is with one of our attorneys or outside attorneys. It's Mike Hammond and Ron Hoppy, and we do have a counselor on the show who will help you with the whole mental health aspect of the visa bulletin and retrogression. And people really do get some big anxiety over it. Some really big anxiety. So Worldwide sees that and recognizes that. So there's going to be a counselor on that show to kind of help you mentally grapple or deal with this concept of retrogression and the fact that your petition is in line with all these other people. So we do you mean retrogression is moving forward? There are chances we may go to America in a year's time. Okay, so I think a year's time might be a little much. That's pretty fast. Before the visa bulletin posted where we're currently at, which is 11 months prior to where we were, we were looking at an immigration time of 18 months to 2 years. So that, I think that's still what we're looking at, would be 18 months to 2 years. But Evermore, that's a great question, a great statement. I cannot state whether or not the visa bulletin will move forward. All signs point to it should move forward, because in October, that's when the government releases however many petitions they're going to release that year. I know that the Philippines Nurses Association in the United States is really lobbying for the unclaimed visas to be given to nurses. So I know that there's a lot of people out there lobbying for more visas to be given to nurses and to healthcare. So all signs point to it should move forward, but I cannot state that for a fact. I can just be hopeful that it is going to move forward, just like we all are. If you applied for a nurse aid position, you currently attached advanced diploma in nursing. Can this, no. So as far as, what do you mean by advanced diploma? Like, are you an RN now? Are you a registered nurse now? I'm not quite sure. But it depends on the job that you have accepted. So if you've accepted a job as a nurse aide, then you're on that visa track. But if you're an RN, I'm telling you, it's still going to be faster, even if you're in process. Like you're already, if you've applied for a nurse aide, if you're in process, you can still if you've gotten your advanced diploma and you've got your registered nurse, Arona, I probably said your name wrong. I'm so sorry. And you've got your RN, take the NCLEX. Apply to take the NCLEX. Save your money because I know it's expensive. Study, 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 work really hard, and apply to take the NCLEX because you're going to get here a lot faster as an RN than you would as a CNA, no matter where the visa bulletin is. So I can tell you that you will get here a lot faster as an RN than you would as a CNA. So that would be my advice to you. I hope that answers your question. I hope it does. I do have, as far as English language exams are concerned, I do have one announcement regarding the state of Maryland. Earlier, so like a month ago, we found out that Maryland had stopped accepting the PTE, the OET, and the MET. And of course, a lot of our nurses went into panic mode because Maryland is a very popular destination. Johns Hopkins Hospital is one of our clients, and we love working with Johns Hopkins, but they're located in Maryland. So a lot of our nurses going there were like, I've taken the PTE. What do I do? Maryland has officially voted into legislation to accept the OET, the MET, and the PTE. So that is great news, and you do not have to panic if you would like to go to Maryland, or if you're in process and you're headed to Maryland, and you've taken the PTE or you were hoping to take the PTE. Maryland has announced, I think it will be effective June 24th, around June 24th. So that's always great news. We love to hear that, right? Love to hear when the PTE is accepted and the MET and the OET. Love to hear when those exams are accepted because they're great options and alternatives to the dreaded IELTS and TOEFL. How many months does it take for one to get his or her labor certification from the Department of Labor? Oh, you're a nurse aide. Yeah, it's gonna take a couple of years. I do not have an exact timeline as far as the U.S. government goes. I am probably, I don't know of anyone in worldwide who would like to give. I mean, we can kind of give you a time frame. I think our legal department would be the best department to give you a time frame of how long things are taking for the U.S. government to process things. But if you're already in process, Jennifer, then my advice to you would be to reach out to your case manager or Neil. He is over all of our nurse aides. So Neil is a great person to reach out to. I don't have my man behind the scenes. So let me see. I can definitely give you Neil's email real quick. See if it'll let me copy it. So that you can email. Oh, come on. I can never get things to work the way I want them to. Does anybody else have that problem with technology? Or is it just me? Is it just me? It might be. If it'll give me, there we go. Copy email. I got it. Okay, so here is Neil. And he is over all of our nurse aides. So Neil is who you would like to email if you're in process. Now, if you want to apply and ask all the questions, Neil's already, he's got enough on his plate. Any of the application questions will go to Brian Barry. Brian Barry is the head of our recruitment department, and he has given me permission to say, hey, if they have recruitment questions, they can contact me. But Brian Barry is his name. But Neil is over our nurse aide. So if you're in process and you're a nurse aide and you have questions, obviously your case manager, I don't know who your case manager is, so I can definitely tell you to contact Neil as well. Let me see. How many months? Okay, that's the one I answered. Do you recruit for GCC countries? All right, you're gonna have to I'm gonna have to Google what is a GCC country. That's probably a term that some people know. I do not know. Do we recruit for the UAE? Yes, we do have positions in the UAE. Um, I don't know if those questions should go to HRPC. I think our HRPC team is the one who handles all of our UAE opportunities. Um, her name's Farah, but she has an amazing team in the UAE. So, yes, the short answer to your question is yes, we do recruit for the UAE. How many years does it take for the one in Nigeria who has started the filing process? Are you an RN or are you a CNA coming out of Nigeria? Do we offer sponsorship? Sponsorship of what, Patricia? I've been asked if we answer sponsorship of the NCLEX. I'm not 100% sure, like sponsorship of what. So I'm going to need a little bit of clarification there. And then I need a little bit of clarification for how many years for the Nigerian process. Replying to Patricia, yes, they do. I don't know what kind, I don't know what kind of sponsorship you're looking for. So that's what's the process for applying to be in the UAE? So you will go to our website, which is healthstaff.org, and you're going to click the apply now button. It's blue. And one of our recruiters reaches out to you if you meet the qualifications. If you're an RN and you meet the qualifications, and then once you start talking to a recruiter, you can tell them, like, I'm interested in going to the UAE. Like, that's where I want to work. So once you start working with a recruiter, they get you in the best place. Hello, Amira from Egypt. Thank you so much. Hello, Phyllis from St. Lucia. Beautiful St. Lucia. Woo, jealous over here. Egypt is a wonderful country. I did have the pleasure of visiting Egypt, and it was such a cool experience. Where are you in Egypt? Mira, you've passed the NCLEX exam. That is absolutely awesome. I'm so glad that you passed the NCLEX exam. Have you applied with us, Amira? Have you applied? Doris says hello. Okay, thank you. Wonderful. I guess I answered your question. I don't remember. Oh, the process for applying to the UAE. Yes, Doris. What is the minimum experience? At the moment, I work as a nurse educator, but you have a previous experience in the ICU, and after passing the NCLEX, you will go back to the ICU. Wonderful. Okay, so we require at minimum 1 year of bedside experience, but our employers, that's a great question. I'm not going to, Bachi, I think is your last name, Blurando. I'm horrible at names, y'all. Y'all know this. But what we do require is that you are currently working bedside. So I love that you were a nurse educator. I think that's really cool, and that's going to look great on your resume. So make sure you include all of that information on your resume. However, our employers are going to be looking that you are working currently. That's like part of the contract. And then you send an updated resume once you accept a position, you send an updated resume every 6 months to your case manager, because we have to verify that you are still working. You have to be working bedside. Okay. So after passing the NCLEX, you will go back to the ICU. That is perfect. That is a beautiful plan. I give, boom, stamp of approval on that plan. So hopefully after you pass the NCLEX, which fingers crossed, you can do it. You will go back to the ICU, and then you'll notate that on your resume. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All wonderful things. I know ICU is a very commonplace. I know that I see that a lot. I see a lot of nurses going to ICU. So that's beautiful. I love that. Blorando, you are on the right track. All blessings, blessings, blessings. Amir, come and visit. I've been to Egypt, and it was, and Alexandria. Alexandria is so, so, so cool. I loved Alexandria. A lot of people are like, I'm going to Cairo, and they're in Cairo. Alexandria, so cool because you have that like really cool like Roman influence, and you had like all the Roman columns still everywhere, and oh, it's so, Alexandria was so cool to me. You have that Mediterranean vibe. I love it. I love it, Amira. Alexandria is beautiful. But I love that not till now. Good, good. I hope that you are applying. Um, I know that if you want to work on your English, just speaking specifically to Amira in Alexandria, I know the American University of Cairo. I know they have a lot of really great, and it's a train ride, but I know they have a lot of really great English language programs to practice your English at the American University in Cairo is a great place to check out some English, practicing English or finding an English speaking buddy or anything like that. So really, really cool. If we come on a visit visa to the US, do we recruit? So you don't have to be in the US to interview? What do you mean? Like, it depends on how long your visit is. So we always advise our candidates if you are in process with us. So you have a petition, you have a priority date. So it's been processed. You have a priority date. We, unless you're on like a flip trip, which is like a super quick just to get your feet on the ground and get your social security card, which again is not 100% necessary. We do not advise once you have a petition on file to come to the United States and visit and spend long periods of time. The reason for that is because it does raise a red flag on your petition. Like it will say, if you were here in the US for a month, that could cause your petition to take longer because it's going to be people investigating into your petition. So I know that we do not advise coming to the US, and like if you're here for like a week, okay, that looks like a visit. But when you're here for longer than a week, even 2 weeks, that can be a little fishy. So I'm not sure if that answered your question, Ezran, but it did allow me to speak to that. So if you haven't accepted a position yet, then come to the US and visit. But once you've accepted that position and started that process, that is something that they'll check into. So good. Keep that in mind. Especially are you visiting family? Are you just coming to go to Disney World? What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you coming to the US right now? Wonderful evening from Manila, Philippines. Sorry you just joined. May you ask if the PTE in Maryland will be acceptable soon? It is accepted. Do we have concrete date that the PTE will be acceptable? Thank you. Yes, PABS, the congratulations. If you have accepted a position with Johns Hopkins, great hospital. We are blessed and fortunate to work with Johns Hopkins as one of our clients. But yes, Maryland did announce that they did vote into legislation that the PTE will be accepted, and I think the official start date of that acceptance is June 24th. So 4 days away. So if you haven't taken the PTE yet, yeah, you'll be fine. You will be fine. Even if you'll be fine. Take the PTE. So hopefully good news for you. Kanchan KC. Oh gosh, these names. I am from Nepal. Hello in Nepal. You've just passed the NCLEX. Yay! And you went through New York, which means you're going to get your New York license. Yay! That's fantastic. Just join you're working at the hospital. You're currently working. Kanchan, you are doing all the right things. You are checking all the boxes. Good for you. You want to apply for a hospital in North Carolina. North Carolina has some great hospital facilities. So Amy is going to be on next week. Like I said, she's going to be live from a Common Spirit recruiting event, which is really, really exciting. And all the hearts to Amy. I just love Amy. She is such a go-getter. I can't wait to see what she's going to do on the show next week because she's going to crush it and she's going to blow your minds with all of her knowledge. Amy is one that can tell you more specifically about which states, but Kanchan, my advice to you is to go to healthstaff.org, click that blue Apply Now button. And then once you connect with a recruiter, like a recruiter will look at your resume and they'll be like, yay, we want to hire this nurse, or we've got a spot for this nurse. You will then voice to your recruiter, I really want to work in North Carolina, which I don't blame you. Carolinas are we do have really hot summers. I don't know where you're in Nepal. We do have really, really hot summers. Like it's in like the 90s here. Nothing like Manila. I know Manila's super hot. So we have really hot summers, but we do get to experience all 4 seasons, which is a beautiful thing about the Carolinas. So that would be my advice to you, Kanchan, would be to apply. Click that blue apply now button and let's get you started. Let's try to find you a position in North Carolina. I do have to say a shout out to the hospital, the Atrium Health in Wake Forest, who is one of our clients. I have a family member who has been receiving services there, and they have nothing but amazing and positive things to say about what they've received and the healthcare that they've received at Atrium Health in North Carolina, and Wake Forest, specifically North Carolina. So a big shout out to Atrium Health at Wake Forest for taking such good care of my family member. Again, shout out to all you nurses because you love to take care of people. I love that. I visited with my family in the Dominican Republic, and my daughter had to go to the hospital because she fell and busted her chin open. She had to get stitches. So thank you to healthcare workers in the Dominican Republic. Not sure if you're watching. Are you hiring caregivers? Not right now. Basically, what we're looking for are RNs, registered nurses. Med lab techs. We do have med lab techs. I know that. But no, not caregivers. I think sometimes we have physical therapists, veterinarians sometimes, but like caregivers, certified nurse assistants, that not right now. I'm so sorry to say that, but not right now. You are in Ghana. Beautiful is Budri. Oh, I've just got to quit with the names. You're a licensed registered general nurse. You are currently in process as a dialysis nurse. Congratulations. That probably means you're with DaVita. On the process. Oh, sorry. Hang on. I have been assigned a recruiter. Okay. So here's my question for you. Bugri. I don't want to say Bugri. Budri? I don't know. Isaac is the last name. So that's who I'm talking to right now. To answer your question, do you mean you've accepted a position? Have you accepted a position through Worldwide Health Staff? It's probably with DaVita, but there's a bunch of other dialysis places too. But tell me who you have accepted a position, like if you have accepted a position or if you've just applied. If you've accepted a position, that means you've been assigned a case manager. Your recruiter is done. Your recruiter has done their job. They have recruited you for the job and you have accepted the job. Now you've been passed off to a case manager. That process can take anywhere around 2 years, is I would say what we're looking at right now, around 2 years. Do you recruit in New York? We sure do. We sure do recruit in New York. One thing I like to tell people, though, is a lot of people look at New York City and they're like, I want to go to New York City. My brother's in New York City right now. And New York City's great. It is the mecca of immigration, right? It's, the Statue of Liberty is there. Ellis Island, which is where all of our European immigrants came through. It's a great city. It is. But when you are looking at places to live, you need to make sure you take into consideration the cost of living. If it is just you living by yourself, okay. But if you're bringing on dependents and you're a single income household, New York City is extremely expensive. The state of New York is expensive. It is very expensive to live in New York. So it's just very, very important. I know a lot of people, I just say that. You may have family in New York. I don't know. But I like to tell people, don't just look and be like, I'm going to be making X amount of dollars a year. That's so much money. It could cost a lot more to live there. And that's why you're making substantially more. So always evaluate the cost of living, before, and take into consideration, are you bringing dependents? Because if you're going to have to pay for childcare, that's another expense, right? Transportation, that's another expense. Getting started even if you're already in the United States, like we talk about, if we're US citizens and we move within the United States, it's expensive to relocate, even if you're already here. So keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind when you're choosing a state. Your experience is in the ER. Oh, that's great. That is fantastic, Amira. Fantastic. Please apply. Please apply. Thank you, darling. You're so nice and positive. I try to be a positive person. I've only had 1 cup of coffee and I normally have 2. But I'm trying. You're living in the UK, working as an RN. Have I been to Albania? No, I have not been to Albania. But if I go to Albania, which I would love to because I love to travel, where should I go? Where should I go? You work in the UK, so your English is okay. That's awesome. Yeah, the UK is British English. So the motherland, as the United States we like to call it. Unfortunately, after 1776, we became our own. But British English is a little different. So, for example, if I go to the UK and I speak, they're going to understand me, but they're probably going to laugh because of A, my accent, and B, there are just words I say that are very different than what they use in the United Kingdom. But that's not, it's, apples and oranges. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine, especially working in the UK. That's awesome. Just practice English as much as you can. But keep your beautiful native language too. Make sure you keep that. Since the USA is facing retrogression right now, the R word, do you accept someone who is working at bedside just a month ago, but has 1 year of experience as a volunteer nurse in the hospital? Okay. So you've only been working bedside. Have you been working bedside like as a certified RN? I don't know. When you were a volunteer nurse, were you an RN? Did you have that RN? I mean, it doesn't hurt to apply, but a recruiter may reach out to you and their response to you is going to be keep up your bedside experience. Keep up that bedside experience. So we do like to have, at least 1 year current bedside experience. But that's how do I answer that? Is it Kendrea? Kendrea? That's a beautiful name. Apply. If you're an RN, you're already an RN. Do you have a US license? Have you taken the NCLEX and passed the NCLEX? If you have taken the NCLEX and passed the NCLEX, go ahead and apply. Go ahead and apply. Absolutely. That's my advice to you. If you've not taken the NCLEX yet, you can apply and reach out to a recruiter and they'll give you more specifics on what you need to be doing or what you should do. Is the OET accepted in Georgia? All right, Georgia. There's an English language question. Something that's actually in my department. Yay! Okay. Is it Ram Ram? Ram Ram? That's so fun. Okay. Where are you from? And what language was your nursing education in? So Georgia requires the TOEFL. That's it. It's the only one they accept. However, they will waive the TOEFL requirement if your education was, the language of your education was conducted entirely in English. So if you're from the Philippines, I don't know. I know the Philippines, all of their education is in English. Their textbooks are in English. This is stated on what is called your CES report. And do not confuse a CES report with a Carnegie Evaluation Service. Isn't that convenient? They're named, both of them are CES is their abbreviation. CES, when I say CES, what I mean is a Credentials Evaluation Service, and that's from CGFNS. And what that will do, Carnegie Evaluation just looks at your academics and does it, compare to, U.S. academics and a nursing evaluation. CGFNS focuses specifically on healthcare. And they will also put in there whether or not the language of instruction was in English. And that's what Georgia looks for, is the CES report from CGFNS. They look for current, they look for that your language of instruction was English. So to answer your question, kind of, Georgia requires the TOEFL unless you can prove and validate that your language of instruction was English. It's like a very roundabout way of answering your question. Sorry about that. Mohammed, your priority date is October 23. Your expectation for embassy interview. Oh, for October 2023. Yeah, Mohammed, I have no clue. I know people who work at the State Department, but the State Department is actually massive, and they don't just deal with retrogression or the visa bulletin. That's just one small department of the State Department. I have no clue when you will have your embassy interview. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. I cannot answer that question. Hopefully in October, things are going to move forward. It's kind of all I can say. Hopefully we'll see some forward movement in October. We should, but hopefully. Do you recruit in New York ICU and do you provide relocation support? Great question. Yes, we recruit in New York. I can't tell you what positions are specifically available in New York, like if it's ICU, if it's med-surg, if it's NICU, if it's, whatever it is. I can't tell you the specific positions that are in New York. Amy, next week, will be able to give you a more thorough picture of that. Yes, we do provide relocation support. So what happens is once you accept a position, and you're going to get through the process, part of accepting your position and part of your contract, you're going to have a relocation package. And that package can include anything, for temporary housing, transportation. There's a lot of different things that are in that relocation package. Those are not put together by Worldwide. Because Worldwide, remember, we're direct hire. So that means we're basically connecting you with the hospital. You are not going to work for Worldwide. You're going to work for the hospital you sign the contract with. So therefore, it's the hospital or the provider, the clients, they all have their own independent relocation packages, but we do have a relocation team who will explain all of that to you once you get to that process. We book your flight for you. You are responsible for paying if you're traveling with dependents. You will have to pay for your dependents' fee bill, and you will have to pay for your dependents' flights as well. But the hospital will pay for yours, or the client pays for yours. So different clients have different packages. So that's something that you will that's something you can ask in your interview. So if you get an interview, which I hope you do, ask, can you tell me about your relocation package? That's something you have to plan for, and that's something that you have to save up for. Relocating is very expensive. Okay. Such positive vibes. Thank you for all the information you're about. And God bless you as well. Same to you, 100%. God bless all the blessings on you and the exciting journey that you're about to embark on. I am so thankful for all the work that you are doing and that you will do. So thank you. I try to have positive vibes. I try. It can be tough in the world today. Be taking after June 24th. Yay. Good. That was the PTE question. Fantastic. I'm so glad. Shout out to my people at Pearson. Shout out to Meredith. Are you coming to the UK for a recruitment event? We really need you for a visit in the UK. I would love to go to the UK. I think that would be really, really cool to go to the UK. It's not on my to-do list right now. But the UK would be a great place to visit. Thank you so much for saying that. That is so, so kind of you. Are we recruiting oncology nurses? Asking for someone. That makes me laugh because I hit my computer. Sorry. We often will say like asking for a friend, and that's code for like asking for myself. But I believe you evermore that you're asking for someone. I, again, cannot tell you whether or not we are recruiting specifically for oncology. I do not know the specific things, but if you are a registered nurse, we are recruiting. How about that? If you are an RN And if you have taken the NCLEX, we are recruiting. Joining from Jamaica. Do you know Arlene? We love Jamaica. Love Jamaica. I've been there. Beautiful country, the friendliest people. Oh my gracious. You guys talk about positive vibes. You want some positive vibes, go to Jamaica. Good evening from the Philippines. Hello, Kim. Good evening to you. Good evening. You are, okay, let's try this. Akanksha. I don't know. That's probably wrong. You are an NCLEX passer. That's way more important than me pronouncing your name correctly. Currently, you're not working for 4 months. Is eligible for selection process. You have previous 4 years, 10 months experience. All right. Yes, you are eligible. But we will require you to return to bedside as soon as possible. That's the question your recruiter is going to tell you. They'll look at your resume and they'll be like, that's great. You've passed the NCLEX. Wonderful. You have 4 years of experience. That's beautiful. Get back to work. It's essentially what your recruiter is going to tell you. So we do. And it's not a worldwide requirement. It is our client's requirement that you're currently working bedside. I understand, and our recruiters, I'm not sure why you took a 4-month hiatus. Sometimes you need a mental health break, right? Sometimes you've had a family change. Sometimes you've moved. Sometimes you have to take time off to take care of family. I don't know what the reason you took your 4-month hiatus is, but that is something they may ask. Why did you take 4 months off? Why haven't you been working for 4 months? So you need to be prepared to answer those questions. Midwives, it's RNs. We need, it's registered nurses. That's what we are looking for. Home care nurses in the UAE for years. Are you accepting that as a bedside experience? I believe so. I don't want to 100% commit to that. Amy and will be a great person to answer that question. But I mean, I know we place people in home health care. So I think so. I think so. I can ask. Let me actually here. I can do this. I can chat and we'll see if I get a response. Amy is super, super, super busy. Question on the show. Do home health care nurses experience count as current bedside? I would think so, but hopefully Amy will answer. Stay tuned. Let's see. I could also ask Brian. I'm going to ask Brian too. Wait 1 second. I'm asking Brian. Okay, start chat. Okay, do home health care nurses experience count as current? Oh, hang on. There we go. Amy answered because she's great. So Amy's response, shout out to Amy. I told you guys, you are in for a treat next week. She said it depends on the nature of the home care position. If it involves hands-on nursing care, then it certainly can. There you go. There you go. So that was her answer. If it involves hands-on nursing care, then it certainly can. Shout out to Amy. Shout out to Amy. Oh, let's see. How much are we giving in salary according to experience, even the experience in our country? So, Amira, that's a great question. Salary is going to be based on where you are located. I'm getting really thirsty over here. Salary will be based on where you are located. So, for example, cost of living in New York City, like I stated, is really expensive. So if you're an RN, and this is me ballparking, I have no clue. Do not hold me to this. And let's say that you sign a contract in New York City as an RN. They take into consideration your years of experience, and they start you at $95,000 US a year. Okay. Cost of living in New York is really expensive. So keep that in mind. And let's say you take a position in Kentucky, where cost of living is not as expensive, and they start you at $60,000 per year. You can't just look at that and go, it's the same job, the same experience. Why are they making more money? They have to survive. So your salary is based on your experience and where you live. So, yes, you're going to have more money in New York, but you really won't because it's so expensive to live there. I hope that helps. I think that's true everywhere in the world. Things are more expensive the more you go into these big cities. So that's true. The one thing that I do want to tell you and that I do want to make very, very clear is if we're looking at two resumes, sorry, my dogs are barking downstairs. You know that we are live. You know that we are live. There goes the dog. If we take two resumes and we put them side by side, and you have a U.S. citizen and we have you, who is an immigrant, you have the same experience, you have the same degrees, you've taken the NCLEX and passed the NCLEX. The U.S. citizen is not going to make more than you. You will make the same amount of money as a U.S. citizen. So do not think that you will be paid less because you're an immigrant. No, that's actually illegal in the United States. Can't do that. So if you're hired the same time a U.S. nurse is hired and you have the same years of experience, same bedside experience, same degrees, that's how that's going to work. So you will not be paid less because you're an immigrant. I want to make sure that's very clear. Hello in Nigeria. Which state is ideal for international nurses to start their new life? Let me see. It depends on you. It depends completely on you. I hate cold weather, but if you love cold weather and rain, Washington State is a great state for you. If you love tropical heat, sun, Florida would be a great place. California, Texas, also very hot. If you like the desert and you hate plants and you hate cutting the grass, New Mexico. Arizona. If you want mountains and skiing, Colorado, Utah. If you want a beautiful fall with all the different colored leaves, you want to go to New England. Totally up to you. It really depends on you. I can't say. Every state and all of these hospitals, you're not going to be alone. So I don't want you to feel like you're going to be alone, hopefully. So I only have time for a couple more questions. And let's see, just join the chat. The recruitment for, home health care, it's kind of at a stop. It is at a stop. Do we accept CNAs? Not at the moment. If you're past the NCLEX, 2 years, I think is the kind of the standard timeline that we're telling people right now. Hello in the Philippines. Hello in Nigeria. So you need ward, although you're on surgery suites, it's just bedside experience. Like you need to be like actively in the hospital bedside, not behind a desk doing clerical work. I hope that makes sense. It's on a ventilator, passed the NCLEX already. Wonderful that you passed the NCLEX. I'm so sorry your patient is on a ventilator. That's so sad. How long does it take? That's the 2 years. Tune in from Kenya. Hello in Kenya. You sent your resume. No approval from Florida to enroll for your approval to test. Okay, here's the deal, Resty. You're not okay. So you can take the NCLEX through Florida. That's totally fine. You can take the NCLEX through Florida. However, you will not be given a license in Florida until you have a Social Security card, and you will not get a Social Security card until you arrive in the United States. So, I mean, basically what's going to happen is you will be applying via NCLEX score transfer if you accept a job anywhere outside of Florida. So that's why I always tell people, do not take the NCLEX in the state that you want necessarily, that you're hoping to get a job, right? Because you don't know where you're going to get a job. Take the NCLEX in a state that does not require, I did an episode on this last week. So check last week's Carrie's Corner. Take the NCLEX in a state that does not require a Social Security number to issue a license. Florida does. So you need to know that going into it. Just because you take your NCLEX does not mean you get your license. Okay? Florida is one of those states. You can take the NCLEX there, but you're going to have to, when you apply, you're going to have to do score transfer, and that's going to take longer to get your license, which means it's going to take longer to start work upon arrival in the United States. So there's that. How is life in Georgia? Georgia is the peach state. They have great peaches. I love Georgia. Hopefully coming in 2026. Georgia's hot. It is hot. It is warm, very warm in Georgia. If you're on the coast, my favorite city, one of my favorite cities in the United States is in Georgia, actually. It's Savannah. I think Savannah, Georgia is absolutely beautiful. Super old, super cool, lots of history there. When I say super old, like old and like US times, right? If you go to the UK, old over there is like thousands of years. In Egypt, thousands of years. In the United States, like a few hundred years is old to us. But Georgia's great. Georgia is a great state. It is a southern state, so you're going to hear people talk like this. So you're going to laugh at all their funny accents, and you're going to have to ask them to repeat themselves. They're going to not give you directions in like normal people ways. They're not going to say, you're going to drive about a mile, and then you will turn right on this road. No, they're going to give you directions based on landmarks. They're going to say, you're going to go down this way a little bit, then you're going to hang a right next to the McDonald's. Georgia's southern, so you're going to have some of that southern hospitality, some of that southern food. It is. I love the state of Georgia, and I think it's fun. Football, college football is huge in Florida. Now, when I say football, I don't mean soccer. I mean American football. Huge in Georgia. Soccer, not so big. But I like Georgia. I think you'll like Georgia. It's culturally, like as far as internationals and immigration, there's a lot. Atlanta is huge. Lots of immigrants in Atlanta. Big city. Horrible traffic. Pass your regards to the great and wonderful Mr. No. Oh, okay, definitely will do it. Hello. How's the weather in Georgia? It's hot. Southern Georgia, you're going to have very mild winters. So like the highs are going to be in probably like the 40s, 50s. Northern Georgia, it's going to be a little colder, or a little colder. Do you accept if you work on a cruise ship? That's a great question. I have no idea. I do not know anything about abandoning a petition. That's going to be for next week. So that is outside the United States, enrolled Florida. Can I take your NCLEX in South Africa? Yeah. So yeah, when you get your approval to test, that's all of that. Yeah, you don't have to fly to Florida to take your NCLEX. Absolutely. Chicago, great pizza in Chicago. Great place. Chicago is a really cool city too. So that is all the time I have for today. You guys have been amazing. You have asked so many questions. Thank you for joining. Thank you for embracing our first Q&A, Thursday Q&A. Make sure you tune in next week for Amy Carr, because she is amazing. She can definitely match my energy level. I'll tell you that. She can definitely match the energy level. She is real, and she is to the point, and she's going to answer your questions. And she's going to give you way better information than I ever could, especially if you're in the process and you have questions about where we're hiring and jobs and states. And that is all Amy Carr. She is absolutely awesome. So thank you for tuning in for Thursday's live Q&A. I am Carrie Cooper, the English Language Exam Program Coordinator. And I'm just so thankful that you guys tuned in today. And I hope everyone has an awesome and safe weekend and a wonderful week ahead. Bye, everyone.